Both my parents are drug addicts, and my mom's an alcoholic. And my dad keeps going to prison every other week. And neither of them felt it was important to take care of their children.
I come into foster care because of my mother. She was abusive to prescriptions, and my family has a reputation of being alcoholics, and she was given chances, and it was me, my brother, and my sister.
I've probably been in the foster care system since 9, 10 years old, probably for the first time, and it's been off and on until maybe 17, and then I'm here now. So.
And my dad, he's Jamaican. He was like selling drugs at the time, and so I was shipped over here to my grandma, and so we stayed with her until I was 12, and she died when I was 12, and then I came back into the system.
I went into foster care roughly around the age of 6 or 7. I was in for about 11 years. I can't really say it was that bad because I was fortunate enough to get, some pretty decent parents.
In Florida and throughout the country, states have struggled to keep up with their obligation to keep children safe and healthy. For many years, we have been faced with a chronically underfunded and overwhelmed social service system. But in 1996, the Florida legislature passed innovative legislation to begin a privatized, community-based care model for the Department of Children and Families, or DCF. Community-based care is a comprehensive redesign of Florida's child welfare system that combines the outsourcing of foster care and related services to competent service agencies with an increased local ownership of service design and delivery. Today, the department is working in partnership with local communities to provide child protection services and assure safe, permanent homes for our state's vulnerable children.
Shifting such a large system from government-run for decades services to a private sector business was really a very bold and courageous venture. I think privatization has been phenomenal in serving the children in foster care.
I just know that being a foster parent for over 20-some years, I've seen a lot of changes. And this time around, I see a big change for success.
In 2004, Kids Central was selected by the Florida Department of Children and Families to serve as the lead community-based care agency for child welfare in Circuit 5, which includes Citrus, Hernando, Lake, Marion, and Sumter Counties. Currently, Kids Central is contractually responsible for the safety and well-being of roughly 3,000 children. Of those, about 1,300 children are living with family under the protective supervision of workers. About 1,500 children are living in licensed temporary foster homes. And nearly 200 children are in need of new families through adoption.
There's also apples.
In the old days, when the Department of Children and Families ran the whole system, the case managers would go out, they'd find a family in crisis, and they would remove the children and put the children in foster care. The families then would only get what treatment was available through state contracted services. What we are now doing is, when a family comes to us in a crisis, we identify a local agency, a mental health agency, domestic violence services, parenting classes, food, housing, and we get them connected into a service that will help relieve their crisis. And then the children are able to stay in the family. That's a very different model than when the state ran the whole system.
Kids Central is doing an outstanding job with serving our children in state care. In our time we've partnered with Kids Central over the past few years, the number of children in care has been reduced. There's several reasons for this. The department is making better decisions on the front end and bringing children into the system. And KCI has improved services in the community, has strengthened partnerships with providers, and expanded services for the children in care.
Under the leadership of Kids Central, the community-based care model encompasses a broad range of services: child abuse prevention and intervention, family preservation and reunification, foster care intake and placement, emergency shelter care, case management, out-of-home care, kinship care support, intensive residential treatment, services for emotionally disturbed children, post-placement supervision, independent living skills, and adoption. Kids Central is committed to excellence and works in full partnership with service providers to meet or exceed federal, state, and Kids Central agency quality standards.
Across the state, numbers for children have been dropping, those children that are becoming dependent in the foster care system. Reunifications are occurring more quickly, and we have seen dramatic improvements in the adoption rates of children through the privatized child welfare system.
My kids, I don't need to look at a file. I know their birth dates, I know their socials, I know their phone numbers, their addresses, just off the top of my head because I work so closely with them. I see them all. I mean, we're mandated to see them once a month. We probably see our kids once a week, if not more.
The importance is families. Keeping families together, keeping families strong, keeping children in reasonably safe circumstances so that they can grow up and they can realize their full potential. If we don't do that, the problems really grow bigger.
We're changing our system.
The Kids Central Board of Directors and executive staff adopted the following guiding principles for the agency. The safety of children at all times will be the foremost concern. Resources will be efficiently and effectively managed to achieve better outcomes for children, with the ultimate goal being child safety and permanency within a 12-month time frame. Financial support will be available from diverse federal, state, and local sources, and flexibility will be managed at the local level to meet child and family needs. Child and family needs will dictate the services provided. We will be accountable to the community for meaningful outcomes related to safety, permanency, and child well-being.
I was an 11-year-old turning 30, and I did everything I could to be moved. She would not move me. So finally I realized I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. She's my mom.
And when I started going to independent living classes, I learned how to take care of budgeting and banking accounts and school and tuition. And without independent living, I wouldn't have learned any of that stuff on my own. So it kind of it gave me support.
Well, this past spring, I made the Dean's List at CFCC, and it just kind of made me realize, I can do better for myself, and I can do better, coming from, foster care and that kind of stuff.
Did you look in the hallway?
They talked about foster parents being heroes and heroes in the community, and I sat there thinking about it and thought, yes, we do a lot of work and we love these kids, we're very dedicated, but the real heroes through this whole system is the children. They have abuse before they're even born. Prenatal drug and alcohol abuse is rampant. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, they go through multiple placements as they get older, and we still get good kids. And I mean, to me, that's a hero.
Previously, I don't think people in the community realized that children who were abused and neglected and abandoned were really their responsibility. They saw it as a governmental responsibility. And now I like to say these children are our children. They grow up in our community. We, as adults in our community who are concerned about the status of children in our community, need to take a responsibility, and we have a responsibility. Unfortunately, their parents on many occasions have neglected them and have treated them poorly and have not really performed as parents need to perform, and therefore we as a community are responsible for them to help them grow up, to protect them, to give them the safety that they need.
There's always something that comes across your desk. It could be an approval for an adoption subsidy for a handicapped child who's going to go home with a loving family. That just reminds you, it's not about your difficulties, it's about those kids.
Since contracting with the Department of Children and Families in 2004, Kids Central has made significant progress in reducing the number of children in temporary foster care, shortening the period of time during which children must face instability in their lives, and helping many more families reunite and safely raise their children. But the key to ongoing success actually lies with you and with everyone in our community. Your direct support through time, energy, and through financial contributions makes up the difference between the funding provided by government and the real cost of adequately caring for each one of our vulnerable children.
Instead of complaining and whining about it, step up and do something. Get involved. Make these kids feel like somebody cares about them. We need community involvement because there's no way that these kids are going to be what we want them to be unless we step up and help.
Today, Kids Central is clearly on the road to providing successful outcomes for our families in crisis. Please help us continue.